Welcome everyone to Firmware Update, estimated download time 1 hour. I'm your host, Andrea. With me as always is Thomas Hodakowski.
Hello.
And Emma Carlholm.
That would be me.
Yes, indeed. We haven't had an episode in a few weeks. It hasn't been that much news. We sort of changed it from a weekly news show to a whenever there's news show, I guess. And since it's now pre-E3 week, there's a lot of things to talk about. Won't be an episode next week, by the way, because of E3 battle. So let's just dive straight into it, starting with Evil Within, the upcoming horror game by Bethesda and whatever the other studio is called. Is having some pre-order, collector's edition, and trailer updates that I wanted to bring up. First of all, the shitty pre-order and collector's edition. Now, if you pre-order the game in America, you get some extra items, such as some health packs, a shotgun with a few rounds in it, and stuff like that to start the game with. Basically, you get easy mode inventory if you pre-order, which I felt was dumb because, why isn't that just a difficult selection to start the game? But then it gets dumber, because in Europe, it's the collector's edition that gives you this. So if you want to have some slight advantage when you start the game, like Resident Evil 4 gave you by pressing easy, you have to pay extra. How's that for a game?
So, wait, but isn't the game supposed to have, difficulty settings or something?
No word on that so far.
Mm-hmm.
But they're calling this the what did they call it? They call it something something like basically the name of the collection. I'm gonna look it up while we talk. Made it sound like it was just an easy mode setting they were selling. It was really, really, really shitty, if you ask me. And a lot of people had Is that what it's called?
No, I was just putting that out there. That perhaps that was it.
Oh no, I don't think it was that bad, but almost. Okay. I'm trying to find it right now.
Or whatever. Yeah, it's just no. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. And I've been hearing people defend it by saying, like, it's the least worst kind of bonus they can give us. But no, we're not supposed to have bonus. The Fighting Chance pack.
Oh.
They're calling it the Fighting Chance pack.
So that implies that the game is poorly balanced.
That too, yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Which actually has been what I've been hearing from one of the previews, that the game is poorly balanced.
Yeah, so the Fighting Chance pack gives you medical kit, poison agony bolt, a double barrel shotgun, and 3 shells, which admittedly that is very few shells. And an incendiary agony bolt, which I believe you can use to basically just burn up corpses without having to use any fuel or anything that you would normally have to use. And green gel, which isn't specified what it is.
And a sense of shame.
Yeah, and of course it's also exclusive to EB Games. Which I thought was GameStop now, but whatever. Tango Gameworks, that's the developer's name. So yeah, that's not good, and that made me worried about how the game plays and stuff. But then things got worse, sort of, from a marketing perspective, when they decided to release a new trailer, which is literally "Look how scared people got" trailer.
Oh, is this like that whole Dead Space 2?
Yes.
Don't let your mother see you play this game. Your mother will hurt you.
That's exactly what it reminded me of. It's literally here are some press people being scared when they're playing our game. Look how good it is.
So they basically gave it to PewDiePie and said, "Make us a trailer."
No, because you know what? I watched PewDiePie's trailer for fucking what's that game called? Deadlight, the one that isn't Dead Island.
Yeah, I think so.
And you know what? Sure, there were moments where he was screaming in terror, but that wasn't all he was doing. He was commenting on things in the game as well, so at least, it wasn't just, look how scared this person is when playing our game.
So what you're saying is PewDiePie makes better trailers than this trailer?
That's what I'm saying.
I feel for the marketers of this game.
Yeah, I want this game to be good because it's the closest we'll get to a classic Resident Evil, basically. But I don't know. Every little bit of info that comes out from the marketing perspective makes me think that they don't have any hope for the game themselves, which makes me just worry that the game itself isn't good. And then, of course, the preview comes into place, and like Tommy said, the previews haven't been all that kind. Granted, it's hard to preview a horror game, but still.
Oh yes, definitely. I mean, talk about a game where you actually need to sit down and actually get the atmosphere going. You can't just sit down, play for 6 minutes, and be like, "Oh, yeah, that was great. I was so scared." No, you weren't.
Yeah. That said, some previews have made it work. I really felt the Zombie U previews that we played were really good. That was, of course, 2 years ago now. They nailed that. So, I mean, you can make it work. So, even so... And this was, like, preview events held specifically for the game. So it wasn't, like, a bunch of other games being held around it as well. There really shouldn't be that much worry about the game, then, unless the game is actually bad.
Well, that reminds me, didn't like Fear 2 had a similar thing happening to it with like, cameras set up to capture like, oh, look how the press was scared.
Did it? I don't remember. It very well might have.
Yeah, I seem to vaguely recall something like that. And it turned out that the game wasn't scary at all, so they had like zero.
No, it really isn't. I like Fear 2 a lot, but it's not scary.
Oh no.
Fear 1 is scary. Even Fear 3 has scary moments, but Fear 2, no. Fear 2 has like 2 scary moments in the entire game, and I bet none of them were in the previews because they're really spoilerish moments. But yeah, so mostly of some worry there, not... I mean, I'm still hoping the game is good, and I'm looking forward to it, but I am worried. However, another game made me less worried this week. And that was Batman Arkham Knight, which has now been delayed to 2015. Which is the first good news I've heard about Batman Arkham Knight. I'm so happy that they're actually not rushing this game out, because Batman Arkham... I did not like Batman Arkham City, I liked Arkham Asylum. And Arkham Origins, I think, is generally agreed upon at this point to not be a very good game. So them actually taking their time with Arkham Knight is probably the best.
Yeah, delays are great for the players. I mean, sure, we get to play them later, but we get to play a better game, so we shouldn't be complaining.
Presumably.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think most of the time it will be better. It doesn't have to be good, but better, probably. There are, of course, exceptions to that as well, where, last-minute changes have been made because publishers wanted to and developers didn't want to. They're just Cerberus. Hopefully this is a good thing. Although, at the same time, the next news, just minutes later, was Arkham Knight is going to have a transforming Batmobile.
Wait, what?
Batman Arkham Asylum was originally going to have a car section. We're going to drive the Batmobile. They took it out because they felt it took away from the game. It didn't end up working. It was too much, and it detracted from the experience. Same thing happened again in Arkham City. Arkham Origins was too rushed to even add in something extra. And now the big thing they're pushing is the Batmobile. That, to me, is worrying as well.
Well, perhaps this time they can actually spend the majority of the development time just polishing the crap out of this one feature to make it good.
Maybe, and that would be great, because I do like the idea of driving an awesome Batmobile, but they just delayed the game to polish it up more, which would suggest that at this point in time it's probably not that great, if that's the case.
Yeah, but hey, like you said, it's going to be better when it does come out.
Yep.
So perhaps it will be good even.
The delay is a good thing. I'm very, very pro delay here, which I do love how people are upset about the delay, because you really shouldn't be. You got a Batman game last year. You don't need one this year. The delay is good.
Although on the other hand, like the Xbox One launch delay, that's not so good.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
Well, I'd say hardware and software are pretty different pieces, especially when the hardware has been out on one region but not in others. That's like
and I think the the prevailing excuse for that delay was that to make all the region-specific things work. So I would basically read that as, sorry, our awesome Kinect cannot decode your pagan language. We have to crunch for some more. But now that Kinect is gone, what's the problem?
It's a TV network thing. So they don't want to launch without working TV networks, and they're gonna have to talk with every nation about that.
Yeah.
They gotta get the SVT in there on Swedish Xbox Ones, because otherwise, who the fuck's gonna watch Swedish television on their Xbox One?
I sure know I won't.
People in Sweden, presumably.
No, they're not.
Yeah, we're both Swedes, so we both know we wouldn't watch a minute of it.
We really wouldn't.
Why would I ever watch Swedish TV? The only good thing that is on Swedish TV is not actually aired on Swedish TV. It's only paid for using the state's money. It's weird.
That's what it's called? Weird?
Well, actually, it's called Full Patte, but yeah, it's only available on the web player. It's not actually aired on TV, and that's the only decent thing on TV.
Well, yeah, but anyways, although a few stores have just imported consoles, so yeah.
Yes, they have. So, in other news, Fear Rhythm, Curtain Call, Final Fantasy for Nintendo 3DS has a release date, September 16th, and will be coming with a collector's edition with a remix CD. And I advise everyone who can't get the original game to look to get this game, because all the songs from the previous game, all the content from the original game is in this game as well. It's basically a Fear the Rhythm Deluxe Edition with a bunch of extra content.
That's okay, because I expect that we should expect to run out of stock very soon.
I mean, the thing is, the original game didn't sell well enough to be reprinted, and now people want to buy it. So,
and
now they can't find it.
What's the word on Bravely Default? Because I can't seem to find a copy, and
I haven't heard any word on it, but I haven't really looked into it either.
Yeah, I mean, Final Fantasy Songs, the game. It looks amazing. I want to play it. I played the demo and I was blown away, but it's not available anywhere. So the second game, definitely picking that up.
Wait, isn't it on the eShop?
Nope.
What?
It's one of those games that used to be on the eShop, or I think it used to be, because
it was never on the eShop.
It appears when you search for it, but it says not available on eShops. It's like,
it was never on eShop. Nintendo puts out every game has a trailer or a screenshot they put up on eShop as well, but not for download. No, that was not on eShop. I think the first Square Enix game that was on eShop was actually, is Bravely Default on eShop?
Yes, it is.
Okay, yeah, then I think that was the first one. Because I don't think Kingdom Hearts was on eShop either.
Why would you not put the stuff on there?
Yeah,
because it was before the eShop was as good as it is now.
It's not good now.
Yeah,
exactly.
But
Holy shit!
Now imagine it before.
Wasn't there supposed to be one-to-one parody?
Or
or is it just Nintendo?
Just Nintendo games. I mean, you guys are still pretty new to the 3DS game. As someone who got the 3DS on launch, trust me, the eShop was way worse.
Yeah, but it doesn't make it any good now.
No, it doesn't. I didn't say it was good now. I said it was bad now as well. I'm just saying, it's not as good as it was now, so I don't blame anyone for not putting up their games on eShop back then.
So it's basically the whole delay thing. It's better now. It's not necessarily good now, but
exactly.
Now.
They should have delayed eShop further. So that's the non-E3 related announcements, I guess. So let's move on to leaks and announcements. We had an early leak of the new Battlefield game. Battlefield Cops and Robbers. Sorry. Battlefield Hot Fuzz. I guess there are a bunch of stupid names.
Battlefield the Heist.
Yes. Battlefield Hardline, which is basically cops and robbers in a Battlefield style game. Like, you have one team playing police and they have police helicopters and cop cars, and the other team are playing robbers or terrorists or burglars in general, and you're all in a big city, and you're doing war, and you're shooting things. And the leaked gameplay looks... I mean, it's... You haven't seen that much of it. They're just basically showing off how the game works, and it looks pretty solid. But it sounds like it could be really fun. I don't get why it's called Battlefield, because I mean, I guess technically a urban war zone among police and criminals is a battlefield, but it's not really what I think about when I hear the word battlefield.
And it's not developed by DICE either.
Nope, it's not. The single-player section is developed by Visceral Games, developers of Dead Space, which I think is interesting, because they could probably craft a way better single-player campaign than DICE could.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 has shit single-player. So, that's cool. But, it sounds like it could be a very fun thing. I'm guessing we're going to be seeing a lot more of it at E3, probably during EA's conference and stuff. And I can imagine them doing a large-scale multiplayer demonstration like they did last year, Battlefield 4. And if the multiplayer is as good as Battlefield 3 and 4 was, glitches aside, this could be a really, really, really cool game to play. I do like the idea of it, because, I mean, in a way, it's basically like Counter-Strike or Urban Terror brought to a more large-scale style game. I guess it's kind of what Tactical Inversion wanted to be, but wasn't, because the game was shit. If you guys remember that game.
Don't think I do now.
Yeah.
Creator of Counter-Strike, Guzman, he made his own Source game last year, and it was absolutely garbage. Never mind. But no, it could be cool. I always liked the idea of playing as police in games in general, because I always felt that was fun. Crackdown, even though that was superpowered police, was a lot of fun. Because it's the... It's the... I don't know.
That's a good point, actually. You don't get to do that very often, do you?
You don't. Like, you...
Okay, so you have LA Noire.
Yeah, a driver.
Yeah, SWAT 4.
Oh my god! I just realized that you can play this game as a SWAT game. Imagine like playing it roleplay style, like having all the terrorists gather up in like one building, and then have the SWAT like storm the building, and terrorists try to get out.
Sounds pretty sweet to me.
Oh my god! I want this game now.
And you could also do it like a gritty reboot of Cops and Robbers, or whatever the board game is called in English.
Yeah. I love that board game as a kid.
As a kid? You mean you don't like it now?
I haven't played it since I was 6.
Huh, I didn't think I had even played it by the time I was 6.
In Britain, I believe it would be called Bobbies and the Rascals.
Bobbies and Rascals. I like that. That's what I should have called this game. Bobby Field.
Bobby.
But no, it looks really cool. I am excited for it. I do like the Battlefield series. Admittedly, I still think the first game is the best game in the Battlefield series, but that doesn't make the other ones bad. So that's nice, and I do wonder if this is going to lead to basically more, like, because I knew EA was going to be milking the FPS genre somehow, but I also knew they wouldn't be putting out Battlefield 5 this year. But I was wondering if they were going to announce another military shooter at E3. In fact, it's on my E3 bingo card. But now I'm starting to worry, though. Maybe they're going for this instead of their military shooter this year. I wonder if that will work, or if it's going to appeal to the same crowd or not.
I hope it's going to work, because I'm so sick of all these presentations, all these military shooters. I'm so damn up for some variation.
That said, I wouldn't mind playing a Cops and Robbers game where the cops have a tank. Because I like tanks.
You're kind of pushing it, but yeah, I guess I see what you mean.
I like tanks a lot. They're fun. I made a cake, a tank-shaped cake yesterday. It was great. But no, so that sounds fun. Now on to actual announcement and not leaks, assuming it wasn't an intentional leak from EA. I don't see why they would do that, but whatever. Mortal Kombat 10 looks amazing.
That was how you looked at it. I was like, this looks like utter crap, but okay.
You're wrong. That was the best teaser I've seen in, like, a long time. Oh my god, that was cool. I've probably seen the trailer like 20 times at this point.
Oh wow. Yeah, do not agree.
Okay, what's your issue with it?
Basically, the animations are stiff as shit, and I just don't see how that looks like a fun game to play. The
It
whole
looks like Mortal Kombat.
yes, with all this environmental bullshit. Like, what's up with?
Yeah, it's Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, but it hasn't worked. You can't grab branches of trees and beat people with it before. I can't see that working in a semi-competitive setting. And then again, perhaps this isn't supposed to be a competitive game, but I think they're going for that direction because they kind of were with Mortal Kombat 9, and I think they were on the right course. I'm not a fan of Mortal Kombat 9, but I think they were doing the right kind of thing. What they would need.
You're speaking words and I don't understand them.
You don't.
You said you're not a fan of Mortal Kombat 9? I don't think that's how English works.
But it's stale. It's weird.
It's like one of the most fun games made last generation.
And the breaker system is 100% safe. You just don't do that.
Mortal Kombat 9 is a game where you can play without arms. I'm sorry, that's the best game ever. You can just pull a roulette of 10 different random things and have like, you have no head.
But
It's perfect.
why do I get the feeling we're looking for different things when we look at this game?
Mortal Kombat is a stupid fun party game. Meant to be really overly gritty and dark and awesome. That's why Mortal Kombat 9 got Mortal Kombat so well. This just looks like more Mortal Kombat 9 with amazing looking graphics.
Well, yeah, but the thing that made Mortal Kombat 9 stand out for me compared to previous Mortal Kombat games was that it actually worked better as a game on a pure...
It was just Mortal Kombat 1 through 4 again.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was. It's why I can play it. It's because I could just bring over my skills from Mortal Kombat 4 straight to it. They just removed the step up and down. 5, 6, 7, 8 were the crappy ones. Because they added a bunch of other things, and those were bad. I actually they're mediocre, to be honest. I even do like Armageddon somewhat. I think it's called Armageddon. One with like 140 characters or whatever.
Was that the one where they added multiple... No, I don't think that's the same one. There's one where they added multiple movesets for each character. So you could have like 2 different normal movesets and a moveset where you grab a weapon, and you could cancel from normal combos into your weapon combos and stuff.
In Gold, you got the weapons, I think it was, Gold or 4, but you didn't get the different stances until Deadly Alliance, which is Mortal Kombat 5, but they removed the 5, even though they kept it in the logo.
Wow.
You're speaking with someone who's been maining Sub-Zero since the 90s right here. I know my Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I guess you do.
Which, by the way, bullshit! Why does Sub-Zero always get his ass kicked in the trailers for Mortal Kombat? I'm tired of that.
Good point. He does, actually.
His entire backstory is he killed Scorpion. That's why Scorpion is angry. Why does Scorpion always win in the trailers?
Because people remember, get over here!
Granted, Scorpion did kill Sub-Zero, but then Sub-Zero's brother stepped in and kicked Scorpion's ass, so... I'm getting to Mortal Kombat lore now, I should stop.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat lore. Oh my, holy shit.
Speaking of Mortal Kombat lore, Cliffy B. What? Cliffy B? What am I...
Where are you going with this?
I was going to say Ed Boon, but I said Cliffy B.
They're the same person.
I knew it. Ed Boon was actually asked on Twitter. He was asked, the story in Mortal Kombat 10 is going to be continuing from Mortal Kombat 9 or be a new original story. And he has said that it's hard to explain, but it's going to be a bit of both. So it's not going to be a remake of the previous Mortal Kombat games, like 9 was halfway. It's probably going to be take off where 9 ended and sort of spin off into their own story, which I think is the good way to go about it, because then we will avoid Deadly Alliance and fucking... what's that other one called? was it Conquest? It wasn't Conquest. It was something else.
Mythology.
One between. There was one between Deadly Alliance and Armageddon that was really, really shitty. The PSP version was called Unchained. It was called something else on whatever.
Mortal Kombat something else.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat something else. That's the one. Man, I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, but that's interesting because
Deception?
I really, yes, that's the one. Deception. That game sucked.
Well,
Probably-
at least they're honest with it in the title, you know, like,
Yeah.
Deception. Don't buy this game.
I mean, but the thing is, Mortal Kombat 9, I was really, really amazed with how good the different modes were. Like you had the very, very well made practice mode. The story mode was like probably the deepest deepest non-visual novel-esque story mode I've seen in a fighting game. And just the only thing it was missing was basically versus CPU. Which I don't get why games don't have that these days.
Wait,
How-
it didn't have versus CPU?
No, and there's a bunch of fighting games that doesn't have that anymore. It's so fucking stupid. I think the new Tekken didn't have that either.
Really?
Yeah, I could be wrong. But like, I remember I was talking about this with a friend when Mortal Kombat 9 came out about it not having versus CPU, and we went to a bunch of other games and they didn't have it either. Like, did Soul Calibur 5 have it? I don't remember now.
Which one did you say?
Soul Calibur 5, maybe that one didn't have it either.
I think it does. I would be surprised if it didn't, but it's not like I checked.
Yeah, it's like, for some reason that's... I guess developers are expecting you to play like the arcade mode instead. But that's not really how it works.
Isn't that just when you click quick match versus CPU? Like, isn't that the same thing?
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, that wasn't in 9, but like everything else was in 9. Like you had so many different fun modes, and I hope they'd keep that up for 10. I really hope 10 doesn't end up being like the Mortal Kombat 3 of the of the new series, in which like it has all the flair and looks to upstage the last one, and then just fucks everything up outside of the visual appeal. But I'm excited. Mortal Kombat is one of my favorite fighting game franchises, so I'm down for more. And this was a great way to hype up. I actually think this was a better announcement trailer than the one that 9 had. So yeah. That's cool. And oh my god, it's pretty.
It is very pretty, yeah.
Granted, some people are saying it's CG, but you know what? If you look at there are too many fuck-ups in the trailer for it to be CG, I think.
Yeah, I
like,
could see that being in game. Why
yeah,
wouldn't it be?
Like first of all, the environment textures are very low quality, especially the snow. It looks kind of bad actually when you look at stills. And then the fire at the start, not the fire effects from Scorpion's attacks; those are gorgeous. But the fire like on the burning wood and stuff in the most cinematic angles, like the angles you wouldn't see if you're fighting normally, they're bad. They're really bad. So if that's CG, I wonder where Warner Brothers' money went. And if it's not CG, holy shit.
Yeah, I don't think it's CG.
Me neither.
The only issue I got is that, yeah, I thought the animations were pretty stiff. But aside from that, no, it looked great. Like, the stills look amazing.
I mean, the animation, that's sort of part of Mortal Kombat, because, like, that's always been a complaint I hear from non-Mortal Kombat fans about how stiff the characters look, but I don't know why they still have it like that, but I'm guessing they have a good reason for it. It never bothered me myself, but yeah. Okay, so Homefront: The Revolution.
The second game, that is the first game, but it is the second game.
You know, when Crytek announced they were doing Homefront 2, I understood why. The concept is fun enough to play around with. Even if the first game wasn't good, they can make something good out of it. Fine, I get it. When THQ died, and they felt the need to sell off the Homefront license so they could keep on working on the game, I thought they were idiots. There's no name value in Homefront. and there's nothing like specifically holding Homefront to being Homefront. You could have called this game anything else, and it would have been the same game. There's no need for that name. It's not going to help your sales. And then they don't even keep the 2 in there, meaning that the reason for them having the name is now completely gone. It's just Homefront the Revolution. It could be anything. Military Bang Bang. Like, it's just... It's... But hey, that's names. And like I said, names are names. So, whatever, they don't really matter in the end. What are your thoughts on Homefront the Revolution?
Well, from what I've heard, I haven't played the original Homefront because back then I paid more attention to reviews. So the consensus was avoid.
Yeah.
Especially hearing the reasons for that. Like, basically, the game treated you as an unwelcome spectator for some reason.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
like,
then,
you know how Call of Duty, the Infinity Ward Call of Duty, like, get a lot of flack for like having other characters open doors and push you along? Homefront is that times 100.
yeah, and I guess you can say the same about stuff like Battlefield 3
Yeah.
or Medal of Honor and Door Fighter. So, yeah, maybe the new people will do something with the idea, because even though the subject matter of basically Red Dawn, the game, has already been done in something like Modern Warfare 2, for example.
Or Freedom Fighter.
Well, I would definitely be interested in seeing what they do, especially when Crytek is involved. So at least it will be pretty to look at.
Oh yeah, definitely. Even though, hey, it looks like it's Battlefield with Watchdog graphics.
I can't wait for the moment in Homefront Revolution where the North Koreans bring out the Super Mutants.
Oh yeah.
And the game gets really hard.
Yeah, that's Crytek syndrome for you.
Yes, it is. But that wasn't the only game Crytek announced. They also announced Hunt, Horrors of the Gilded Age, which is going to be a 4-player, third-person hack-and-slash shooter thingamajig where you shoot zombies in the Middle Ages or something. I don't know. It has a teaser trailer. We'll be seeing more at E3. And all I took from the trailer was that there's a crossbow lady with a bowler hat, and that made me excited.
And there's a lot of zombies. Really, we haven't played a lot of zombie games in the medieval settings, I think.
I'm glad you added in the medieval settings, because I was about to rip you a new one over that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we've seen a lot of zombie
I haven't played
games.
many zombie games.
Yeah, I'm not that dumb. But yeah, but in a medieval setting, I can't, like, if I think zombies in a medieval setting, the first thing that comes to mind
The
are
Cursed
those.
Crusade.
Oh, I was thinking those, in Ocarina of Time, those zombies that freeze you.
The Redeads?
Yeah, they're really scary.
They are terrifying.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I remember when I think zombies in a medieval setting.
I think Cursed Crusade had them. That game was shit. Die by the Sword, I think, had them.
Oh, that's true. Yes. But we're still like coming up with these old games. Die by the Sword, Ocarina of Time. These are not games from last year, to say the least. So, hey, this looks interesting enough by its presentation.
What are you talking about? Ocarina of Time 3D came out 2 years ago.
Yeah, I guess it did, and I totally owned that game and I beat it. But it's still a remake.
Man, the Redeads are scary.
Yeah, really.
The Majora's Mask added the fucking mummies as well. Ugh.
Oh, why are we not getting a Majora's Mask 3D?
Oh, it's on my bingo card. Almost.
Oh, I hope we're getting that.
I hope so too. Give me a get a point. But yeah, not much is known about Hunt yet. The name reminds me of Hunted, which isn't good. Because that game wasn't good at all. It also reminds me of Hunted the Reckoning, which is better, but not really great. Basically, Hunt is not a good thing for names, unless this is a great reboot of Duck Hunt. Oh, okay. Thanks for the silence on that.
Yeah, like, wow, I'm so blown away. Like, Duck Hunt.
I thought that was funny.
Oh, yeah. But they would probably call it, like, The Hunt.
The Hunt. Just The Hunt.
Yeah, subtitle Duck. But wasn't there a game?
No,
called, like,
the tagline
Hunted?
would be Duck and Cover.
Yes, I was just about to say that. You were saying?
Wasn't there a game called Hunter Hunted or something?
Yeah, actually it was. I think it
you
was.
think of the anime Hunter x Hunter.
No. It was I think it was like a split screen versus platformer.
This sounds cool.
Hang on.
I'm getting lots of bans when I Google Hunter Hunted.
Oh yeah.
Isn't like the hunter has become the hunted one of the most common like taglines?
No. It is a game. Made and released by Sierra, actually.
Oh.
And it's not a Pac-Man clone, is it?
Oh my god, that's a brilliant subtitle for a new Pac-Man game.
Yep.
Pac-Man Hunter Hunted.
Oh yes.
I want that now.
Gritty
a gritty
Pac-Man.
reboot of Pac-Man.
I want an achievement called All the Grit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like a platforming thing of sorts.
That's cool. I never heard about it. But yeah, so Hunt. Hope that will be good. Hope we'll be seeing more of it at E3, and hope that the stuff we see will be good. Moving on to Bethesda's latest game, a free-to-play melee combat and slightly some ranged combat melee combat game, team deathmatch, I believe, called Battle Cry, which looks really cool, art design wise, and I just love the fact that there's that our like big strong tank character is a female lead, and she looks awesome. So that's cool. But this sort of came out of nowhere. Bethesda announced it last week. And it looks interesting. The teaser trailer is basically a CG trailer of people killing each other with giant swords, and it looks really cool. But they released screenshots as well, and it has this really... It's not cartoony in a like toon shaded or like 2D-esque way, but it's cartoony in like proportions and very high amounts of color and stylization. Like you see the blood in the screenshots, and like it's like pure red and it's splashing everywhere. Like, I mean, I would compare how the blood is handled to something like Mad World, but Mad World was black and white and cel shaded, so it's not really the same. But like it's really over stylized, over the top, and I like that. And I think it could be fun. I don't think has Bethesda done a free to play game before?
I don't think so. I mean, Elder Scrolls Online got tons of shit for not being a free to play game. Then again, that's not even developed by Bethesda either.
Nope. Then again, this isn't developed by Bethesda either. I think it's only published by Bethesda.
Oh yeah, Battlecry Studios.
Yeah.
They're
naming the game after their own name. That's so fucking brilliant.
I think it's the other way around, personally, but hey, whatever.
But
32 players online. So okay, so it's not going to. I was thinking it's going to be something like Left 4 Dead or something where you have these pre-made characters. But if you play 32 players online, you're probably not going to be restricted to pick one of the characters and nobody can play the same character, yada yada.
I'm guessing there's going to be variations of the classes, and there's going to be a 16 versus 16 character thing. But I don't know. I mean, it's a free-to-play game. The fear of microtransactions, of course, pop in. But at the same time, they're really pushing these pre-made characters in the teaser and stuff. So it would be weird if they're not used to some extent.
Perhaps they're just presets, and you can make your own character, and like these are
Maybe.
the presets.
Maybe it's going to be Bethesda's response to what's the game called? Reload.
I don't know what you're referring
It's
to.
no, it's not Reload. It's on Steam. It's a free-to-play shooter that's like really cool. I can't remember what it's called now. Like you customize your weapons and characters, and you can like build your weapons by adding
Tower
different
of
things.
Guns?
No, not Tower of Guns. It's a third-person shooter.
Loadout.
Loadout. Yes, Loadout. It might be something like that, but with a melee combat focus. It's really the melee combat focus is what grabs me the most because you don't really see that much especially in like multiplayer games.
Yeah, I was
So
reminded
that's fun.
of Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast. They had this game mode where you played one-on-one.
Dual mode, yeah.
Yeah. It reminded me of that, only it wasn't one-on-one.
Yeah. I also see some influence of the latest Square Enix game, Nidhogg, I think it's called.
Oh, yeah.
It reminds me a bit of that, but like without vampires. So it could be cool. It definitely looks promising.
Square Enix, Nidhogg.
Well, or Nidhogg, or however you want to say it.
That's the indie game.
Oh, sorry, I'm not talking about Nidhogg. I'm talking about what's it called? The Legacy of Kain game is not called Legacy of Kain. It's called something on N.
Oh, Nier.
No, not Nier. That's a Drakengard spin-off.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I'm talking about the free-to-play game that's currently in beta. Noskov. You guys haven't seen Noskov?
No, I can't say I have. I haven't heard the name.
Well, that game is cool too.
I was just throwing out names.
No, I meant Noskov, not Nidhogg. Two close names. So if it's anything like that, that'd be cool too, because Noskov was actually surprisingly solid. Next up, we have Armored Warfare, which is basically Obsidian making World of Tanks, which I am down with. I love tank games, and I love World of Tanks, and seeing another studio entering the battlefield, so to say, is neat. It's a bit worrying that it's Obsidian, because I wonder if the game is going to be playable. But one can always hope. And it's also CryEngine, which a lot of CryEngine games now. Sonic Boom, Homefront, Hunt, and now this.
Wait, Sonic Boom is CryEngine? A Sonic
Yes, it
game
is.
on the CryEngine?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wii U has a CryEngine game. An exclusive Wii U game, even.
Huh. But you know, Obsidian making an MMO game with tanks. This is so out of nowhere.
We don't know if it's an MMO or not.
It says so in the trailer. A free-to-play, massive multiplayer online tactical military video game.
I missed the massive thing. Okay.
So yeah, it's World of Tanks MMO from a studio that is known for glitches, unfinished gameplay, but absolutely brilliant writing.
Yeah, but you know what? At least they don't have to ship a finished product this time.
Oh! Downright you are. Oh wow!
I'm hyped for it though. I like. I mean, World of Tanks is one of my favorite online games. So if I can get even if I can get even if it's not a good game, if it's a game that actually challenges World of Tanks in any way to make World of Tanks better, that's good. So, and the trailer looks very promising. It looks pretty as fuck, and really, Obsidian shouldn't be able to fuck up a tank sim now, should they? Can't they really do? I mean, I know you can fuck up a tank sim because I've played Military Life Tank Simulator, and don't play Military Life Tank Simulator because it's bad. Although you can do a lot of fun physics fuck ups in the game. So I guess if you can find it for cheap, which I did get it, but I don't know. I don't see, because like I don't see them fucking this up because it's not as big of a game as what they normally do. It's not as massive of a project. Like this, what are they gonna mess up really?
I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it's a match made in heaven at all. It reminds me of when BioWare announced their new game, Command and Conquer. It was like, what?
Oh yeah.
And then BioWare Victory. So it's actually Victory Games. They just called BioWare now because marketing.
Well, they don't exist anymore.
Yep, they don't.
Thanks for that, EA. Although to be fair, it wasn't like the game was getting that rave beta testing reviews, so yeah. Although that was also mostly EA's fault because of the way they tinkered with the game, but still. What I was going to say though was like Obsidian's main issue is that they always take on way too expansive projects.
Yeah.
Like every game they make is going to be like the biggest RPG ever.
Yeah, it's like they don't have any sense of how much can we finish in this time frame.
Yeah, exactly, and that's more the issue, if anything. Like if you look at something like I think Knights of the Old Republic 2 is probably what's considered their most finished and well-made game. And if you just look at
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh
No.
Jesus! Do you recall the conclusion of that game?
Yeah, I am also about to get to it. Yeah. I'm not saying the game is at all well made because it isn't. That was sort of the point. That's still the most, like the most finished game they have, and that's so unfinished. And if you look at all the cutting room floor stuff, like how much they cut from the game, how much was just laying like still there unfinished in the code, like it was more than half of the game was missing.
Yeah, there's a huge mod that finishes all of that, and it's freaking humongous.
Yeah, and I don't feel like they can do that fuck up with this one. I mean, they can, but
as long as they focus on the system first and they make the tanks later, then the worst thing that could happen is they have 9 less tanks than intended on launch.
Exactly.
As long as the core system is well made.
Yeah, because really all you need is a working core system, and then you just add in like various tanks and various levels. Like it's an arena shooter basically.
Yeah.
It's not as there's not as many things you can fuck up. You can still fuck them up badly, but I'm hopeful.
Yeah, so you could basically see, and I did not think I would be able to say this a year ago, you could learn from Double Helix. Make a good core game and then add shit later. You know how Killer Instinct wasn't finished until just a few weeks ago? Yeah, but it had a good core.
You can learn from Double Helix, be bought by Amazon.
Yep.
Okay, but that's Armored Warfare, which that's a really fucking generic name. Lastly, we have Return of the Obra Dinn, which is from the creator of Papers, Please.
I think it's Obra Dinn, like in Cobra Dinn. Obra Dinn.
Isn't that what I said?
I don't think that's what you said, but whatever, let's go.
Okay.
I'll be the arbiter and I'll let it pass. Whatever.
Tell me, I think you know more about this game than I do, so feel free to talk about it.
Well, there hasn't been a lot that has been given out about it. It's just going to be a first-person mystery game of sorts. And the thing that you notice the most is that it has a very distinctive, like, 1-bit art style.
Yep.
And there's actually... okay, so I've read the Rock Paper Shotgun article mentioning it, and it has a few links to the forums where the developer Lucas Pope describes like how he achieved that art style in Unity, and it's a pretty fascinating insight into it. Even if you're not very technically inclined, that's still worth checking out. So at this point we only know this much, but Yeah, this is definitely fascinating because he has a pretty good track record, I would say. Like before Papers, Please, one of the things he's made is Helsing's Fire, which you can still buy on the App Store, and you should actually if you have an iDevice because it's still like one of the best puzzle games I've ever played and one of the most interesting ones ever made, I think. So, and I think it was released in like 2010. Yeah, so it's still a great game, and I definitely urge you to check it out.
All right.
So we've talked about. So basically, I've ended up talking more about his previous games than this one.
That's fine.
There's not much to say aside from, hey, the graphics look really cool.
On Mortal Kombat 10, I mostly talked about Mortal Kombat lore in previous games, so it's okay.
This is
but
firmware update, full of news.
yes, indeed. And news fresh from yesterday. iOS. Something happened called WWDC.
Yeah,
Tommy,
it's
you
still
know things.
It's still happening.
Okay.
So basically, they started it off with a keynote where they detailed the changes coming with the new release of the desktop OS 10 operating system and iOS 8. And well, aside from the friend of mine who's a pretty big Apple nut and a fellow iOS developer, we've been watching this stream, and he was freaking out to a pretty noticeable extent. But in terms of what does it mean to people who play games on iDevices, is that if you have a device that came out in 2013, so iPhone 5S, iPad Mini with Retina display, or iPad Air, then you're going to get way crazier graphics, basically, because they are pretty much replacing OpenGL with a thing of their own they called Metal. And to show off how serious that is, they had basically Unreal Engine 4, or at least I would assume that's what it was. And then they had Frostbite engine, like the Frostbite engine, running on the iPad Air.
Frostbite Engine, famous for powering games such as Plants vs. Zombies.
Yeah, that's what actually they use. Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare. So yeah, it and they name dropped like EA with the Frostbite engine, Epic with Unreal Engine. Unity obviously is going to get on it, and as well Crytek with CryEngine, which I don't believe CryEngine was actually ever present on mobiles until now. So yeah, things are definitely going to get interesting on that front, because the majority of the updates that they've mentioned, like even the updates to the operating system themselves, yeah, there's a lot of stuff, but it was more sort of there were more things important to the developers themselves because they've introduced a new programming language. Basically, it's like, oh hey, this thing that we've been using for like 20 or so years, yeah, so here's a new thing. Okay, thanks, bye. So I'm trying to learn new language. But yeah, better graphics basically is the gist of it. They've added some improvements to their existing 2D making things, and they've added also a similarly simple 3D making thing, and you can actually combine those two. So you can, for example, have a 2D scene being used as a texture for the 3D scene, or just have 3D objects in the 2D scene.
Neat.
So yeah, the feeling I got from it is that they want people to make iOS exclusives, because that stuff that's only going to be available on their platforms. Well, with the exception of the engines that I mentioned, I assume they're going to be cross-platform. Well, Unity is, obviously. I'm not sure about Unreal, if it supports Android or not. Frostbite, I don't believe it's going to make happen on Android anytime soon, and likewise CryEngine. Yeah, so this will... Well, on the other hand, I'm not sure how quick the adoption rate is going to be, because more or less a year ago they announced made for iPhone controllers, and that didn't, despite of what they're saying, that didn't seem to have gone anywhere. Like, okay, some games support it, but the amount of actual controllers is like 3 or maybe 4, and seems like the only really properly decent one is yet to come out. So yeah, this was like one of the weird things about this whole thing. Like, they announced the made for iPhone controller program and whatnot, and then this thing just sort of just kept waddling along throughout the year, and here we are a year afterwards, and not much has been done with that regard. The thing that they've said they're now adding is that you can use a made for iPhone controller combined with an actual iPhone. So, like, for example, if it has a cradle for the phone, they can combine the inputs of the controller and the accelerometers and all the motion sensing things on the iPhone, and actually use that as a sort of a super controller for an iPad or a Mac computer. That's neat, because then you can use an iPhone controller with an iPad, basically. So yeah, that's one cool thing, I guess. But again, where are the controllers? Like, I'm not even sure if you can get any in Europe. Well, I haven't looked too intensely. Maybe on Amazon. Yeah, that's the thing that would have been of most use to gaming enthusiasts, I would assume. But yeah, seems like the most underused. But other than that, there's nothing else I can mention that they've announced that would be of relevance. I think, well, they will have developer created app bundles on the App Store. So, for example, Simogo decides that they want to bundle all their games together for like a discounted price. So that's a thing. And it looks like they bought TestFlight, which has been like the go-to way for beta testing apps, and they are integrating it into iOS. So apparently public beta tests are going to be possible on iOS now. So that's neat.
Right.
And that would be it.
Cool. All right. Well, this is the firmware update for this week. There won't be one next week, even if there's a lot of information, because E3 podcasts every E3 day of next week. And don't forget, new Super Final Battle, E3 special, pre-E3 special actually, later this week. Thank you for listening. And Tommy, you have a Twitter?
Yes, it's at Tomalinsky.
Emma?
Yeah, it's kid_n7. That is KIDD_n and the number 7.
And I'm at Andrea_Ritsu. Thank you for listening. Download completed.